the new sign? My sister actually had it made for me. You know, seeing stuff like this continues to give me hopes and dreams that I'm going to build this YouTube channel up the way I want it. Speaking of dreams, I'm actually going to accomplish one today. That's right, this is something that I've been wanting for a long time. Today, I'm going to accomplish my dream of becoming a Power Ranger. And it's a good thing that I know exactly what you need to become one. It's only 2 things. First one, you have to be a teenager. Okay, that ship has sailed a long time ago. But I could definitely do number 2. Second thing is, you gotta have attitude. Attitude. Okay. Maybe attitude isn't my strongest suit, so I don't qualify to be a Power Ranger. I am good about talking about them though, especially when they get big movie releases. With that said, let's get into the review. I'm so excited for this one. You know what? I may not be a Power Ranger, but I've always wanted to say this on camera. Here we go. It's
Morphin time!
That was my line. Whatever. Roll the intro. Absolutely ridiculous. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Big Screen Leap, the show where we take stories from words, pixels, and scripts and see how they land as Hollywood hits. I'm your host, William Redmond. Today, we're leaping into the world of spandex, giant robots, and villains who yell, "Make my monster grow," at least once an episode. It's the original, legendary Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the first 3 seasons that helped shape our childhood, culminating in one of the most hyped events of all time, the release of the 1995 movie. Now, this wasn't just a show. This was a cultural explosion in the 90's. Toys selling off the shelves, kids karate chopping in their living rooms, and parents wondering why their kids were suddenly obsessed with a giant head in a tube. We're going to break down the first 3 seasons, the story arcs that defined them, and cap it off with the 1995 movie. And trust me, there's plenty of cheesy greatness to go around that's going to make you want to do a roundhouse kick, but also give to charity at the same time. But first, let's get into the plot, starting with the show. Alright, so this one's going to be a little tricky, because like I said, I'm not just reviewing 1 season, I'm reviewing 2 full seasons, and then half of a 3rd season to get us started. So grab a juice from Ernie's, and let's dive in. So season 1 kicks off with astronauts on the moon finding a space dumpster, and instead of, not touching it, they open it. Out comes Rita Repulsa, screeching like she just stepped on a Lego, yelling,
"Don't leave! You'll miss my coming out party! That's when I destroy the nearest planet!"
Zordon, a giant floating head in a lava lamp, sees this and says to his assistant, a robot named Alpha,
"Report to us 5 overbearing and over-emotional humans."
No, not that!
Now, I don't know about you, but if the world is in danger, the last group of people I'm calling are teenagers in high school. But hey, surprisingly, it works! Enter Jason, Kimberly, Zach, Trini, and Billy. Zordon gives them each a power morpher with a specified coin related to a certain dinosaur. It also lets them transform into spandex fighting heroes, they fight monsters, and they pilot giant dinosaur robots called Zords. Monsters grow big, Zords combined, Megazord pulls out the sword, slash, explosion, done. Same recipe every week, combined with the Rangers doing different charities or teaching kids lessons. But it was delicious comfort food. The big hook of season 1 though, Tommy, the Green Ranger, played by Jason David Frank. He shows up as a new student at Angel Grove High School, and Rita is impressed by his martial arts skills. She kidnaps him, brainwashes him, and turns him into the Green Power Ranger. Under Rita's control, he wrecks the team, summons his own Godzilla-style Dragon Zord, and suddenly, kids were arguing on the playground who's cooler, Jason or Tommy. Eventually, he joins the team, but his powers keep fading in and out like AOL dial-up. We end Season 1 with a lot of the same stuff, but now with 6 Rangers. Rita threatens to take over the world, and the Power Rangers vow to stop her. Season 2 raises the stakes of Season 1 extensively, and we don't waste any time. Rita gets tossed out of her leadership role. Her scarier boss, Lord Zed, is in. And let me tell you, this guy haunted my nightmares. He looked like a skinless anatomy chart with chrome wrapped around him and a brain sticking out from the top. To make things worse, he has a giant snake that turns into his staff. Imagine Freddy Krueger, but make him shredded. His first move in Control, he destroys the Dinozords. That was a scene that honestly made myself and millions of other kids cry when they saw it. However, the Rangers were not without Zords for long. They eventually upgraded to Thunder Zords, which sounded a lot cooler. Because... thunder. Meanwhile, Tommy completely loses his Green Ranger powers. Again. And is eventually sent to go and live civilian life. But that didn't last very long, because children loved Tommy. So much so, that Zordon decided to bring him back and is like, surprise! He makes him the new White Ranger, new powers, new suit, a talking sword, and a new Zord, the Tiger Zord. Oh yeah, and Zordon makes him new team leader. Not really sure how Jason feels about this, but we don't have any time for that. It's time to fight more monsters. Here's a shakeup that a lot of people weren't expecting though for Season 2. Jason, Zach, and Trini decided to leave the team to go be part of a World Peace Summit and represent Angel Grove. The actors who played these characters, Austin St. John, Walter Jones, and Tui Trang, wanted more pay. Because let's face it, they were on the hottest kids show at the time, and they were getting paid less than mall Santas. Saban said no, so the actors quit. On screen, their powers went to Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, played by Steve Cardenas, Johnny Young Bosch, and Karen Ashley. Watch closely before the transfer. There's a lot of awkwardness to it. There were a lot of body doubles and actors waving from across the room. But still, Season 2 gave us a lot to look forward to. New Rangers, new Zords, new villains, and Tommy solidifying himself as the Ranger. By Season 3, the producers were like, okay, dinosaurs and thunder are out. You know what kids love these days? Ninjas. So the Rangers meet Ninjor, get shiny new ninja powers, and roll out the Ninja Zords. Meanwhile, Rita comes back, but instead of fighting Zed, she casts a love spell on him. Next thing you know, we've got an evil space wedding. I'm not kidding. Suddenly, Rita and Zed become the galaxy's most dysfunctional couple, arguing while plotting world domination. Think half sitcom, half Saturday morning cartoons. Then comes Rita's skeleton brother, Rito Revolto. He looks like a goofball, but he actually destroys the Rangers' Zords and powers. That was the first time the team really felt vulnerable, and if it wasn't enough, Rita's dad, Master Vile, shows up, because apparently evil runs in the family. His big move? He turns the Rangers into little kids. Yup, literal children. That cliffhanger leads straight into the Alien Rangers miniseries, and then Power Rangers Zeo, which we don't have time for right now. Before anybody goes and runs to the comments, I know, I skipped over quite a bit from Season 3. I know that we get introduced to a couple more Rangers leading into the Alien/Zeo arc, and I know a lot happens with Billy during Season 3. But before we could get to that stuff, a movie comes in and interrupts the show. With that being said, let's get to the movie plot. So, before we get into the movie, I just want to let you know this is not canon to what happens in Season 3. Which left a lot of kids confused because they went to this movie and were like, wait a second, didn't they already get ninja powers? This movie was filmed by a different team that filmed the show. And Saban wasn't worried about it because he didn't think that kids would notice the continuity issues. Spoiler alert, we noticed. The film starts off with our 6 heroes getting ready to jump out of an airplane for a skydiving competition. They're doing this in order to raise money for charity, of course. After the competition, we could see them rollerblading around Angel Grove. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a construction crew unlocks a giant egg containing our villain for the movie. His name is Ivan Ooze. He's slimy, sarcastic, and purple. He was sealed away thousands of years ago by Zordon and buried underneath what's now Angel Grove with two giant bug-like robots that he had built to conquer the world, known as ectomorphicons. When Ivan gets free, he vows vengeance against Zordon and plans to take over the world. He unleashes his own mini-me henchmen to deal with the Rangers, while he heads to the command center to confront Zordon. The Rangers, outnumbered and outpowered, morph with their "Whoa! Cool morphers!" into their "Whoa! Cool suits!" and handle Ivan's henchmen with ease. While this is going on, Ivan makes it into the command center, takes out Alpha, and starts to destroy the command center, wiping out Zordon's tube in the process, and then also stripping the Rangers of their powers. To save the day, the Rangers travel to another planet, meet a native warrior named Dulcia, who sends them on a quest, and they get new ninja outfits, shiny new animal-based ninja powers, and the same dinosaur-themed suits. Okay, I know it doesn't matter because they're Power Rangers again, but couldn't they have at least modified the helmets just a little bit? Anyway, when they come back to Earth, they face off against Ivan's ectomorphicons with their new Zords and early CGI that, let's be honest, looked amazing in 1995, but looks horrifying today. Meanwhile, while the Rangers are battling Ivan, the kids of Angel Grove are trying to stop their parents from taking a swanton dive off a cliff. Turns out, Ivan put some sort of mind control on the parents of Angel Grove and ordered them to dig up his robots, and once they were done, they were told to go leap to their doom. The kids, led by Fred, who was friends with the Rangers, obviously not knowing who they were, to meet the parents and try to stop them from their fate. During the fight with Ivan Ooze, the Rangers take it to space and end it by kneeing him into a giant flying comet, which destroys him and ends the mind control over the parents of Angel Grove. We end our movie with the fireworks show that says thank you to the Power Rangers as our heroes watch on and credits roll. So was the movie just a longer episode, or did it expand what the seasons were trying to do? Before we get into that, let's talk about the production, starting with the show, but before we get there, we need to head to the land of the rising sun. So here's the deal. Power Rangers didn't just pop out of thin air. It actually all started with a guy named Saban. He's a businessman who basically looked at kids' TV in the late 80s and said, okay, how do I make something cool, loud, and cheap? While traveling in Japan, Saban discovered this long-running superhero series called Super Sentai. It had teenagers in colorful suits fighting monsters, giant robots smashing through cities, and explosions every 5 minutes. Perfect. Only problem, it was in Japanese. Saban's genius idea? Why don't we just take the action, cut out the Japanese actors, and film new scenes with American teenagers to replace it? Boom! Cheap show, higher entertainment value, that's the Power Rangers formula. And now that Saban had his idea, now it was time to go find his Rangers. He pitched the idea to Fox Kids in the early 90s, and they said yes, but with a catch. They wanted American kids that audiences could relate to. So casting calls went out, and hundreds of hopefuls showed up. What did Saban want for the show? Martial arts skills, gymnastics ability, and charisma. What they didn't want? Professional actors with big contracts. You gotta remember, this was a budget show. So that's how we got Jason, played by Austin St. John, Kimberly, played by Amy Jo Johnson, Zach, played by Walter Jones, Trini, played by Tui Trang, and Billy, played by David Yost. Real martial artists, dancers, and athletes who could do their own stunts and look cool in the American film scenes. So here's where things get wild. Every fight scene in season 1 was filmed from the show Kyoru Sentai Zero Ranger. So when you see Rita Repulsa yelling on the moon, that's Japanese actress Machado Soga in 1992 film. They just dubbed over her voice with Barbara Goodson, who gave us that iconic screech. The Zord fights, the monster fights, all taken from the Japanese show. The only thing that wasn't taken was the teenagers hanging out in Ernie's juice bar. That's why the suits look so different close up between Japanese footage and American. It's because Saban was trying to splice two different productions together like Frankenstein. Seriously, if you watch the show closely, Take a look at Tommy's shoulder shield. You can totally see the difference when Japanese footage is there and when American footage is there. But now that we have the show out of the way, let's jump to the movie and see how they took spandex wearing heroes to the next level. So by 1994, Power Rangers was a juggernaut. The show was everywhere. The toys were selling faster than Happy Meal toys, and Fox and Saban said, alright, time to cash in. Let's go full Hollywood. Here's the thing though, the show was shot dirt cheap, using recycled Super Sentai footage. But a movie? That had to look bigger, shinier, and more expensive. This wasn't going to work with baggy spandex and rubber monsters. Nope. They wanted Power Rangers to look like superheroes who could stand next to Batman and the Ninja Turtles. So the team decided to pack it up and shoot the whole thing in Sydney, Australia. Why? 2 reasons. It was cheaper, and it gave them cool new locations. Instead of Angel Grove looking like the same California quarry, we suddenly had wide open beaches, ancient temples, and skyscrapers. The cast moved down there for months, and it wasn't exactly glamorous. They worked long days, did a ton of stunts themselves, and the schedule was brutal. But hey, they got to film at the Sydney Olympic Park and even used parts of downtowns for those big city battles. Zordon and Alpha were rebuilt for the movie. Instead of the cheap tube and goofy robot from the TV, the film gave us a new Zordon prosthetic and a slicker Alpha suit. Even the Rangers got brand new suits for this. Instead of the cheap spandex, they all got an armor upgrade. Though, early footage shows some questionable decisions made with the suits that, thankfully, did not get put in the movie. Everything had to feel like a cinema upgrade, and that included the stunts and fights. Unlike the TV show, which leaned heavily on Sentai footage, the movie fights were filmed 100% new in Australia. That means all the fight scenes, stunts, were done with the actual actors and the stunt doubles. The actors themselves had training in martial arts and gymnastics, which helped them out, but having to film all that in heavy armor and hot lights, kinda miserable. They pushed through though, because they wanted to show that Power Rangers could work without Super Sentai. So the production of the movie was definitely messy, ambitious, and way bigger than anybody thought. But does it work out? Let's look at the similarities and differences. Alright, first off, the 1995 movie and the show are basically running the same playbook. You've still got the teenagers with attitude. Tommy, Kimberly, Billy, Rocky, Adam, and Aisha. It's the exact same team from season 3 of the show. They hang out, they joke around, and when trouble hits, they morph into colorful superheroes with helmets and weapons. The core concept doesn't change. Rangers morph, monsters attack, big robot fight, bad guy goes boom. Whether it's on Fox Kids or the big screen, that formula is glued to the Power Rangers like Alpha is glued to saying. Both the movie and season 3 gave us the Rangers upgrading to ninja powers, and both times, the upgrade leads to new animal Zords. Ape, crane, bear, wolf, frog. Poor Adam. And Tommy's falcon. Whether you watched the movie or the show, the message was the same. New powers, new Zords, new toys to sell. Gotta keep that Bandai money flowing. One of the best similarities? The villains. Rita and Zed in the show, Ivan Ooze in the movie. All of them are larger than life, constantly cracking jokes while plotting to take over the world. None of them are subtle. They all yell, make fun of the Rangers, and send goofy monsters or minions to do their dirty work. Basically, if you've seen Rita scream, "Make my monster grow," you're prepped for Ivan Ooze cackling and sliming his way through the movie. Of course, you can't have Power Rangers without giant robots. In the show, it's the Megazords, Dino and Thunder, taking on Rita and Zed. In the movie, it's the CGI Ninja Mega Falcon Zord. Try saying that 3 times fast. Taking on Ivan Ooze's bug robots. The fights play out the same way. Rangers get knocked around, combine their Zords, land the finishing move, explosion, and the Rangers celebrate. The special effects were different. Suits and miniatures on TV, CGI in the movie, but the vibe, 100% the same. Probably the biggest similarity of them all, both the show and the movie are unapologetically cheesy. Quick one-liners, overactive villains, teenagers doing gymnastics for no reason, sparks flying off with every kick. It didn't matter if it was a 22-minute episode or a 90-minute movie. Power Rangers had the perfect formula that made it camp, action, and silliness without taking itself too seriously. And that's why kids loved it. Now, did everything match up between movie and show? Obviously not, since we have two different canons about how these Rangers got these powers. With that said, let's jump into the differences. Alright, so obviously the first major difference when you look at these two, the budget. The show was made on pocket change and duct tape. We're talking recycled Japanese monster footage, fireworks from Walmart, and spandex suits that looked like they were bought at Party City. But the movie? Whole different ballgame. Shiny new armor-like suits, glossy helmets, cinematic lighting. The Rangers looked like action figures under the lights. The command center? Totally redesigned. Zordon and Alpha? Upgraded. Everyone had a Hollywood makeover. It's like going from a backyard wrestling show to WrestleMania overnight. Let's talk Zords. And again, we've touched on this one a little bit. On the show, the Megazord battles were done with miniatures, stunt suits, and models. And yeah, it looked cheesy, but there was a charm to seeing two guys in rubber suits wreck a cardboard city. The movie, however, went full 1995 CGI. The Ninja Mega Falcon Sword battles were computer generated, and at the time, kids thought it was amazing. Today, yikes. It looks like a PlayStation 1 cutscene, but back then, it felt epic compared to the foam and rubber of the show. Here's a big one that we've already touched on. The stories don't match at all. In Season 3, the Rangers get their ninja powers from a character named Ninjor, who would go on to be a big part of the season. In the movie, they get them from a quest given to them by Dulcia on a distant planet. Same end results, animal-based ninja swords, but totally different origin stories. The movie exists in its own bubble. It's not canon to the show. Basically, it's like the multiverse before Marvel made the multiverse cool. The showrunners didn't really care though. They figured kids would just roll with it. And, well, they definitely weren't wrong. Last but not least, the shift in tone was definitely noticeable. The show was goofy. Like, unapologetically goofy. Bulk and Skull pratfalls, Rita screaming from the moon, sparks flying every time someone got kicked. The movie, still cheesy, but it tried to be darker and more cinematic. The fights were longer, the sets were more elaborate, and the story, Zordon dying, Rangers losing their power, had more weight than a typical 22-minute episode. It wasn't Shakespeare, but it at least felt like a movie. So here's the deal. The show and the movie may share the same team and the same formula, but the differences are huge. The show was cheap, campy, and held together by recycled Japanese footage. And we loved it. The movie was expensive, glossy, and stood on its own, but it didn't fit into the continuity of the show. Basically, the movie is like Power Rangers dressed up for prom. Same personality, way fancier outfits. One is Saturday morning serial fun, the other is a summer Hollywood cash grab. But honestly, we all loved both, because it was the same thing at its core. Teenagers in helmets, fighting giant monsters, and trying to save the world. And sometimes, that's all you need. So was it worth it for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to jump from Saturday morning TV to the big screen? Honestly, yeah, it was. Did the movie have continuity with the show? No. Did the CGI Zords age like spoiled milk? Absolutely. But here's the thing. It gave fans a cinematic version of the Rangers. Shiny new suits, a hilarious new villain in Ivan Ooze, big sets, and a story that actually felt bigger than the 22-minute Monster of the Week formula. It wasn't perfect. Critics hated it. The canon didn't matter. If you went into this movie and hadn't watched the show, you were probably lost at the start. And the cast probably sweated off 10 pounds in those fiberglass suits. But for kids in 1995, walking into a theater and hearing Go-Go Power Rangers blast on the giant speakers, that was magic. So yeah, it was worth it. Not because it reinvented the franchise, but because it cemented Power Rangers as more than just a TV fad. It proved that they could hold their own on the big screen, even if it was a little slimy. And this won't be the last time that we talk about Power Rangers. We still have the Turbo movie and the 2017 remake, and I cannot wait to talk about those. But that's all the time that we have for today. Which one did you enjoy more, the show or the movie? Let me know down in the comments. If you liked what you saw today, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you get notified when we post more videos. Until next time, from page to screen and everything in between, this has been The Big Screen Leap. And may the power protect you. Bye everyone.